good friend of TexAgs, Jerrod Johnson, joining us here on the program. What's up, Jerrod? We don't have you. I don't know if it's maybe mute's pressed on your end or maybe it's our side.
No, my mute's not on.
There we go. Got you back. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? How we doing?
Well, great. So how are things with the Texans? How are you feeling about things?
Good, man. Good. Everything's good. We're on our break right now, so we got out of the spring healthy. We got a lot of new pieces and just kind of gearing up to get ready to roll late July for training camp.
How's it been for you to coach a team that you grew up in the backyard? You played football right down the street. Like you've had an awesome part of your career, football related, where you've been close to home pretty much the whole time.
Yeah. Well, it's been it's been good. It's been a godsend to kind of get back into Houston. My kind of football journey has taken me all over the country to get back here. I lived in 15 cities in 6 years, chasing playing. Spent 3 years coaching with the with the Colts under Nick Sirianni, and then spent a year with Kevin O'Connell. Did an internship under Kyle Shanahan, and then for all of that to come back to coaching here with the Texans. Getting to have our baby in Houston has been a godsend. So as a kid from Humble, Texas, who went to A&M, getting to coach for the Texans is kind of a dream come true.
Talk to me about CJ. What makes him CJ? Like not only just a dynamic quarterback, but just a good kid who seems to have figured things out. Like obviously he's got a long way he wants to go in the NFL, but he's on that right path from a maturity standpoint and obviously a quarterback standpoint.
Yeah, he's a special kid. He works really hard. He loves football. He's a really good person. He has a great family in his life with his mom, and he's been through some things familiar that I think have made him a very mentally tough, just young man. He's been through some things, but he's a great relationship with his mom and his family. He has a great sense of who he is, but he works really hard. He sees the game, and he's an elite passer of the football. So all those things considered, man, it's made my job. It's a good job to have coaching him, and I've really enjoyed what we've been able to do over the last couple of years.
How about the addition of Christian Kirk? They're obviously an Aggie legend and a guy who's still playing at a very, very high level.
Yeah, when we signed him, man, I sent him a text message and said, it's good to see him back in NRG. I think I was here when he returned those punts against, I believe Arizona State, maybe those games. And so it was good to have him. He's so mature. He's a pro. He's a great kid, and it's good to have another Aggie in the building.
What does A&M mean to you in just the university, the football program, everything that comes along with it?
Yeah, for me, it's family. It's such a pivotal part of my family story. My dad played at A&M from 1976 to 1980. I grew up going to A&M games, football, basketball, baseball, all the things. And I committed to A&M as a sophomore in basketball and football. So, A&M's all been a part of my family, And so for me, my time spent at A&M, had a lot of ups, had some downs. But I think the people that I met, the experiences that I had, just all the deep-rooted emotions, feelings, happy, sad, all the things, just a lot of my life has revolved around Texas A&M for as long as I can remember. So the place always has my heart. I love Texas A&M, everything it stands for, the people that I've crossed paths with, the people I continue to cross paths with as an alumni. Man, it means family to me and my family, and we're forever grateful and for Texas A&M, the things it's done in my family's life.
Fairly certain. I saw you had a couple games last year. What do you think about the job that Coach Elko's done?
They're doing a heck of a job, man. I think that it's a new time in college sports. I think fans don't want to hear this, but it's hard to win games, and so I think he's doing it with class. I think he's put a lot of time into recruiting. Walking around the field, just seeing the talent that we have, just getting off the bus. Now that I'm in the NFL and we're evaluating guys, and I'm looking at tape all day, looking at every position, on the offensive side of the ball, just to see the people, the guys we have in maroon shirts, man. They're doing a heck of a job recruiting. I know Colin, I got to know him a little bit. He's doing a good job, calling plays. And so I like the direction it's going. We have really good product on the field, and I think there's some young pieces that they're going to keep developing, and I think we're in good hands.
Follow me here. I covered D'Amico for a while when I was in Houston doing TV, and I feel like D'Amico and Coach Elko kind of came in similar situations in different backdrops, right? Because there was a lot of stuff going on with the Texans that weren't happening with the Aggies, but they had to change a culture. D'Amico did it real quick. Talk about that, and Coach Elko's, it seems like he's done it with A&M as well, changing a culture and how important it is because it will benefit winning later.
Yeah, I think culture is huge. I think most teams take the culture identity of the head coach. D'Amico is very straightforward. He's very black and white. He's no nonsense, but he does it with a smile on his face and does it with the thought of like treating people with respect. And he always talks about being demanding, not demeaning. But at the same time, once we set the standard, what's understood is understood. Once the standard is set, either you met the standard or you didn't, and that's kind of the messaging we have here. And so I think there are some parallels to it. What Elko's done at A&M, but I think at the end of the day, you be yourself. If you have morals, you have values, you have standards, and you hold the people around you accountable to those things. And if we all have a standard that we know is what is acceptable, it's pretty easy to hold people accountable and create a culture where we all are trying to meet that standard every single day.
Talk to us about Marcel Reed. You evaluate quarterbacks in all positions all the time. What he was able to do last year when nobody kind of expected him to be the guy. He jumps into that role, has some high moments, some areas he wants to work on. What do you see from him that you like, and what we can maybe expect in year 2 under the system?
Yeah, I think he's athletic. He's athletic. He has good arm talent. He's had some games where he's made plays. At the end of the day, the quarterback position is you're in the playmaking business. And so I think taking that next step as he goes into the year with all the reps in the spring, as he kind of knows what to expect. I think the biggest thing is knowing how to prep for the week, knowing what his week looks like, knowing what it feels like to get hit with his body, knowing what it feels like to go through a week of class, just like knowing what he's getting himself into should allow him to prepare all spring and summer to get ready for the season. But I think he's got tons of potential. And I think there's just this switch that goes, and I remember for me, from kind of reacting and just playing off of ability to now anticipating, and something I got from Frank Reich, we would talk about it, we call it accelerated vision. So now I can anticipate what's going to happen as opposed to always reacting to what's going to happen. And I think that's a big reason you see guys make the jump as the years go on. And so I think next year he'll be in a better position to kind of prepare for things and kind of be in a situation to anticipate what's going to happen in all avenues.
Talk to us a little bit about how the quarterback position has maybe evolved, especially from the college game to the pro game, to where you're seeing a lot more of these dual threat quarterbacks, and they're winning at the highest level.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my 2 biggest things I look at with drafting guys and picking quarterbacks is accuracy and mobility. The number one thing you got to do in order to win at any level is be accurate as a passer. And every quarterback, I think college is a cool point to where you can't put a cap on how good a guy can be. And so I think when the ball comes out of Marcel's hands, great. He spins the football, and I think he can be an accurate passer. And I think the more he knows the offense, the more comfortable he is, he will become an even more accurate passer than what he already is. But on top of that, the mobility piece is so huge because there's guys out here like Elko who are going to scheme you up. They're going to have great defensive game plans. You're not going to call perfect plays. And so the mobility piece, I think, is so huge for all of us, especially us in the NFL. And I think it's the same in college, to where half the time mobility piece is great, to where if we call a bad play or the defense calls a great play, you can keep us out of being 2nd and 20 and you just get us to 2nd and 10, right? So it starts with just being able to minimize the catastrophic plays to keep you on schedule. And then the ability comes into where now it goes from a bad play to you make a good play to where just get us a positive play. And then the special talent comes into where, okay, they have us dead to rights. You make a couple guys miss. You extend a play, and now you have a scramble play for an explosive, a lot of what Johnny did, and that's when you get to special. So we're looking for accuracy and mobility, but the mobility piece just allows you, with how good these defenses are getting, to not have to be perfect as a play caller.
I want to ask one last thing about the A&M offense, if you don't mind, and just knowing that offensive line is going to be such a one of the top in the entire country, right? And then you throw in the backfield of Le'Veon and Ruben and Amari. Just what does that do for the quarterback spot?
It's huge. I think when you have a veteran offensive line group or a talented offensive line group, what it allows you to do is be better in situational football. That's one thing. Now, we have less possession than the NFL, so we really have to think in the game, and situational football is always on our mind. There's more plays in college, but that being said, if your line is better, it should be more positive plays in the 1st and 2nd down. It should now get the quarterback in more 3rd and manageable, so now you can keep a run or pass option, which should allow you to be more efficient. So if your line is really, really good, you should have less negative plays. You should be on schedule more, and that's just going to help a young quarterback thrive.
Jerrod, do you have a moment at A&M that is your most special moment? And maybe it's football, maybe it's not, just that you think of like, yeah, that kind of encapsulates my time at A&M.
We went down to Texas Tech We went down to Texas Tech my junior year, and I think we had a tough loss. And Texas Tech had a big win against, I forgot who they beat, but we went out there and rolled them pretty good. And just in the locker room with the guys, that's a moment I'll never forget. And then of course my senior day, just knowing everything that went into me going to A&M, my dad passing away while I was at A&M, and my mom being on the field, and I believe, I can't remember, I think she brought a jersey, my dad's jersey out there with me. And so this place has so many special meanings to me. And I just think, every time I drive by Kyle Field, I'm just thankful that I got an opportunity to play there, and, it always have a special place in my heart.
Jerrod, we're really proud of you, man. We know you're going to be an NFL head coach one day, and we just think great things about you. Thank you so much for making a few minutes for us.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.